So we've talked about how to solve multi-step equations, but now I want to talk about how to solve multi-step equations when there's variables on both sides. So the steps are very similar to what we did before. The first step is to distribute if necessary. The second step is to combine like terms. The third step is the new part, and that is when we're going to move the variables all to one side, and then we can solve. So it's basically the exact same process, but now we have just one extra step. So some examples. The first one, we're going to start with distributing. There are no parentheses here. There's nothing to distribute, so we don't have to do step one. Step two is to combine like terms. I can see on my left side, I don't have anything I can combine. And on my right side, I also don't have anything to combine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and move all my variables to one side. So normally, it doesn't matter which way you decide to move them. I typically like to move them so I move the smaller variable over. So I'm trying to keep my variables positive. It doesn't matter which side you choose. Just know that when I'm doing this, I may end up just picking the one that's smaller, or it may just be moving the one from the right side to the left. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I typically pick the smaller one though. So for number one, I have 5y and I have 3y. My smaller variable there is 3y. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move 3y by doing the opposite of it. Since it's positive, I want to subtract it. Okay, so 5y minus 3y, that's 2y minus 8 equals 12. And now I can go ahead, I have a two-step equation now, so I can go ahead and just do the same process as before, where we're just going to get rid of the addition subtraction first, and then the multiplication division. So I have minus 8 here, so I'm going to do plus 8 to both sides. Then I have 2y equals 20. The next step is to divide to get rid of our multiplication. Then I have y equals 10. Okay, so pretty much the exact same process, just we also have to move a variable now. So example 2, we're going to go ahead and follow our steps. Step 1 is to distribute if necessary. There's nothing to distribute here, so we're going to leave it as is. Step 2 is to combine like terms. And again, on the left, there's nothing I can combine. On the right, there's nothing I can combine. So we're going to leave it as is. Step 3 is to move the variables to one side. I have a negative 6x and I have a negative 8x. The negative 8x, remember, is smaller than the negative 6, so I am going to go ahead and move that one. I'm going to add 8x to both sides to get rid of that. So now I have 2x plus 14 equals 12. For my line. Oh, that's a bad line. Just pretend like there's a line there. Okay, so now I can go ahead and solve. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that addition first. And with my addition here, I want to go ahead and do the opposite, which is to subtract. So I have 2x equals, and then 12 minus 14 is a negative 2. And then at that point, I can go ahead and I can go ahead and do my division. Divide both parts by 2. So x equals a negative 1. Okay. So number 3, same idea. Step 1 is to distribute if necessary. Nothing to distribute here. Step 2 is to combine like terms. Nothing to combine. Nothing on this side that can be combined. Nothing on that side that can be combined. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move my variable. So I want to make sure that I am moving my smaller one. In this case, it's going to be my 3k, so I'm going to subtract 3k from both sides. So 7 minus 3, that's 4, equals a negative 36. All right, and then I can go ahead and get rid of my multiplication. There is nothing that we're adding or subtracting here, so just go straight to getting rid of the multiplication division. Divide both parts by 4. So k equals a negative 9. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video, and you're going to try 4, 5, and 6, and then come back when you're ready. So for number 4, I'm going to go ahead and start by just looking. There's nothing to distribute. There's nothing to combine. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just moving my variables. So my smaller one is my -2 here. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I have 12 equals 11u plus 45. And now I can go ahead and solve this. So subtract 45 from both sides. So I have 11u equals 12 minus 45 is a -33. Divide both parts by 11, and you get u equals -3, which remember we want to flip that, so we're actually writing u equals -3 like this. All right, for number 5, you should have already tried this one. So we're going to go ahead and there's nothing to distribute, there's nothing to combine, so we're going straight into moving the variables. So my smaller one here is the -6. I'm going to add 6m to both sides. So I have 11 plus 5m, because remember that's a -1, equals 51. Now I can just solve it. So I have 5m equals 40. Divide both sides by 5. And m equals 8. All right, same thing for number 6. There's nothing to combine, nothing to distribute. So going straight to the variable part. So my smaller one, I have a -7 and I have a -10. My smaller one's a -10. So I'm going to add it to both sides. So I have 1 equals 40 plus 3k. Then I can go ahead and subtract the 40 to get it to the other side. And I have 3k. And then I have -39. Okay, so make sure when you're doing this that you're not just moving the smaller one all the time. I'm only moving the smaller variable, and then I'm moving my constant to the opposite side of that. Okay, so you don't want everything to be on one side together because it's not going to solve anything. You need to make sure if you're moving the variable to the right side, that your constant is going to the left and vice versa. Make sure you have something on each side of your equation or you're not going to be able to get an answer. So now I can go ahead and divide by 3. I get a k on this side, and I get a -13. And when I rewrite it, I get k equals -13. All right, so those are just simpler examples. The next ones we're going to do involve more of the steps. So let's look at number 7. So step 1 is to distribute, and we do have stuff to distribute here. I'm going to go ahead and pass the 3 out to both parts. So I have an 18p and -3 equals 11p minus 45. Okay, I don't have anything I can combine here, so I can go ahead and go straight into the variable part. And I'm going to go ahead and move my smaller variable, which would be the 11p. 11 smaller than 18, so minus 11p. So over here, I'm left with 7p minus 3 equals a -45. And now I need to move my constant to the other side of the variable. So 7p equals -45 plus 3. It's a -42. Divide both parts by 7. P equals -6. Okay, so for number 8, same idea. We're going to start with the distributing step, and then we're going to go ahead and see if there's anything to combine. So step 1 is to distribute. So we're going to pass out all of our numbers to our parentheses. So I have 2 times 4, which is 8. W, 2 times -1 is a -2, equals a -10 times W is a -10W. And a -10 times a -3 is a +30. And then plus 4. Okay, so now I do have more terms than just 2 on this one side. So I do know that I have to combine something. So I've got a W term here, and I've got constant terms here. So I do know I need to combine my constants at this point before I can keep going. So I'm just going to bring down the left side because it didn't change. Bring down my W because it is the only one. And then I'm going to do 30 plus 4 to get 34. And now I can go ahead and solve for W. So the smaller of the two is the -10, so I'm going to add that to both sides. So I have 18W minus 2 equals 34. Now I can get rid of this minus 2 because I need to keep this w term on its own. So plus 2 plus 2, 18w equals 36. I can go ahead and continue to solve, dividing by 18 to get w equals 2. All right, so I'm going to have you try number 9 and number 10. Pause the video, get your answer, press play when you're ready. All right, for number 9, you have to distribute 9m minus 27 plus 3m equals 7m plus 43. So I have some terms to combine here. So I've got a negative 27, and I also have a 9m and a 3m. So I'm going to go ahead and combine my m terms. So 9 plus 3 is 12, minus 27 equals 7m plus 43. Okay, so now I can go ahead and get all my m terms to one side. My smaller one is 7, so I'm going to remove that one. So I have 12m minus 7m, and that is 5m minus 27 equals 43. And I can draw my line, keep everything balanced. So then I'm going to go ahead and move my 27, so plus 27 plus 27. And now I have 5m equals 43 plus 27, which is 70. Divide by 5, divide by 5, m equals 14. All right, for number 10, again, you have to distribute first, so we're passing out a negative 7 to both parts. So I have a negative 16, and then minus a 14a, and then minus a 21 equals 23 minus 2a. So now I have some like terms to combine, so I've got 3 terms on that one side, so I know I've got to do something. I've got a 14a, I've got a negative 16, and a negative 21. So I'm going to have to do negative 16 minus 21. So that's going to get me negative 37, and that equals 23 minus 2a. All right, so now I can go ahead and solve. And I'm going to go ahead and do my a terms and moving them all to one side. My smaller of the a terms is the negative 14, so I am going to add that to both sides. And again, as a reminder, if you don't pick the smallest one for some reason, it's okay. You're still going to get the right answer. Your work is just going to look slightly different than what I'm showing you. Okay, so 23 and then plus 12a. And now I can go ahead and get rid of my 23 here. And a negative 37 minus 23 is a negative 60 equals 12a. Divide by 12. Divide by 12. I get a. And then I get a negative 5. But when I rewrite it, I get a equals a negative 5. All right, 2 more. So we have 11 and we have 12. I'm just going to go ahead and do 11, and I'm going to have you try 12. So for 11, we're going to go ahead and distribute, and make sure when you're distributing that this is like a negative 1. So we're passing that out to both parts. So I have 5x minus 1x. If it helps, you can do that. Plus 18 equals 6, and then distributing a negative 2x and a negative 30. So now I have stuff to combine on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just use different colors so I don't confuse myself. I'm going to just do this side in the pink and the yellow like I have been. And the other side, I'm going to use green and blue. Just so I know that I'm keeping everything on the left side together and everything on the right side together. I don't want to be combining them between the two sides just yet. So I'm doing 5x minus 1x, which is 4x. Bring down the plus 18. And then equals, I have my negative 2x by itself. And then 6 minus 30, which is a negative 24. So now I can go ahead and draw my line and solve. So we're going to get rid of the negative 2x because that's the smaller one. So plus 2x to both sides. So I have 6x plus 18 equals a negative 24. Subtract the 18. have 6x equals negative 24 minus 18 is negative 42. Divide by 6, divide by 6. X equals negative 7. All right, so number 12, you're going to pause it. You're going to try this one yourself, and then press play when you're ready. So for 12, you're going to go ahead and distribute first. So you have 8y plus 32 minus 2y plus 2 equals 70 minus 3y. Go ahead and combine your like terms. So all my y terms I'm going to make yellow. All my constants I'm going to make pink. Nothing to do on the right side, so that's going to stay as is. So I'm going to do 8 minus 2 to get 6y. And then a positive 32 plus 2 is a positive 34. And then bring down the rest because it stayed the same. All right, and then we're going to draw the line. Go ahead and solve. So my smaller of the two y's is the negative 3, so I'm going to add it to both sides. So we have 9y plus 34 equals 70. And now I need to keep this y by itself, so I'll get rid of the 34. So I have 9y equals 70 minus 34, which is 36. It writes it. Divide both parts by 9. And y equals a positive 4.